Oh, yeah. What's up, boys and girls? It's the Black Avenger, Lee Sanders, coming at you with a very special episode of the RCWR show on February 15th, 2013. It's Friday night. And what's up? I hope your weekend is off to a very good start. We're making this very special Friday night appearance to make up to you guys, especially our YouTube audience that's going to be checking this out shortly. We were actually supposed to have this episode for you all earlier in the week as we had knew about the results or match preview there for Elimination Chamber. We had got the full card for that as of Tuesday, I believe it was. And fortunately, I got a little sidetracked with Valentine's Day, and I also had a serious back problem, and I was just sidelined for just a whole day. It's amazing how much work you can end up losing in a whole day. So now I've been trying to play catch up, but I just thought I'd do this live special episode for you all. So kick on back, enjoy. We welcome those of you that might have just came off of seeing WWE SmackDown tonight, as it's now 2 minutes since it's been on the air over here on the East Coast. All right, so as always, we got the chat room that is loaded up for you all right now. It's at blogtalkradio.com. Feel free to jump on in there when you get a free moment. Also, you can interact with us during the course of this episode tonight on Twitter by hitting us up at Infinity1Prod. All right, so let's go on ahead and let's jump into this awesome card of a pay-per-view that we have coming our way, as it's Elimination Chamber. Now, bear in mind that with this Elimination Chamber that's going to be happening this Sunday, this will mark the 5th Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. But as far as the Elimination Chamber match concept itself, as of this November, it will officially reach a milestone where it'll reach its 10th anniversary. Can you believe that, folks? It's already been 10 years now since Elimination Chamber first came to the WWE, courtesy of one Eric Bischoff there. You definitely got to give him a nod. Well, hey, we know that this Sunday is going to be pretty freaking phenomenal. It is the final stop before WrestleMania. Anything can happen at this pay-per-view. All right, you know how we do it over here with our Call That Match specials, as we offer match predictions for the pay-per-view. I'm going to be dusting off my thinking cap as a writer and a booker, and I'm going to let you guys know who I think is going to be walking away victorious from Sunday's pay-per-view, and also going to take the time out to set up some of the storylines that you might see that could culminate into WrestleMania. I'm actually going to even jump out there a little bit further and kind of give you guys a little bit of a WrestleMania card preview if everything goes right. So first things first, let's go on ahead and let's kick things off by talking about that YouTube pre-show match that we got. Of course, that's going to be happening 30 minutes before the pay-per-view. And what better way to kick things off than with this great match, as we're going to be seeing some tag team action. Now, check this out, folks. It's going to be Brodus Clay teaming up with Tensai to take on the team of Rhodes Scholars, Damian Sandow, and Cody Rhodes. Now, we have to bear in mind that Brodus Clay and Tensai, they are a newly formed team that has been about, I would say, they have about at least 2, maybe 3 weeks under their belt. But notice right here, we had heard that Damian Sandow and Cody Rhodes, they were supposed to be done as a tag team, as both men said they wanted to go their separate ways and embark on singles careers. So very interesting that this match was just thrown together. I can't really buy too much into this match, unfortunately, because when I look at this particular match, the thing that just really stands out in my mind is the fact that there really is no storyline. This is pretty much just a, hey, Sandow, Cody Rhodes get together to try to put Brodus Clay Tensai over. That's how I'm really reading into this match. I think, if anything, it would have made a little bit more sense to have the three-man band, Heath Slater, Jinder Mahal, and Drew McIntyre, and maybe a handicap tag match where it could have been the three of them to take on the team of Brodus Clay and Tensai. That, to me, would have made definitely more sense. So I'm definitely a little bit perplexed that we're getting this. But, hey, it's a YouTube pre-show. You can't really make that much criticism out of it, as we're getting a match for free 30 minutes before the actual pay-per-view. This one, we don't even really need to go any further into who could win this. Hands down, this is going to be Brodus Clay and Tensai. This is nothing more but their way of getting over, continuing to get over at that with the WWE Universe. Odd pairing, remember, it was just a couple of weeks ago on WWE Raw Roulette that we had first saw this friendly exchange between Brodus Clay and Tensai go down there, where Tensai was making officially that baby face turn, having that lingerie on, and Brodus Clay trying to get him to dance. And pretty much since that point, it seems like these two men have been somewhat trying to get on the same page with one another. Could this culminate in Team Brodus Clay and Tensai taking on Kane and Daniel Bryan for the World Tag Team titles at WrestleMania? Honestly, it really wouldn't surprise me at this point, and I actually wouldn't be that more surprised if we ended up seeing new tag team champs get crowned at this year's WrestleMania. So just remember, you heard it here first with regards to that particular match. But once again, I'm going with Brodus Clay and Tensai for the win. All right, let's continue on now, and let's talk about the next match that we have on the card for Sunday's pay-per-view, which sees Antonio Cesaro defending the United States title against The Miz. Now, remember, just at the last pay-per-view, I believe it was, or the pay-per-view before that, we had saw these two guys in a match, and if I'm not mistaken, it was actually at the Royal Rumble YouTube pre-show where we had saw Antonio Cesaro defeat The Miz, where the United States title was on the line. Now, if you remember that last match prediction special where I offered my picks for that respective pay-per-view's winners, you all would have recalled that I said, hands down, Cesaro was going to get the win, that this was nothing more than a warm-up match to really continue their rivalry, ignite it even more. As much as I would like to see The Miz become the new United States champion, at this point, I think from a writing and booking standpoint, you might as well should have Antonio Cesaro retain. Have him go strong going into WrestleMania. I think the biggest payoff of them all would be to see The Miz become the new United States champion in the granddaddy big old city of them all, New York. You got to see it go down there at the MetLife Stadium. So that's what I'm going to be going for. I am looking for Miz to, unfortunately, pick up a defeat from Cesaro at Sunday's pay-per-view, but continue to look for their rivalry to magnify even more. Wouldn't really surprise me too much if maybe we might see Ric Flair or another WWE legend try to make another appearance. Maybe it could be a scenario where Cesaro kind of beats them down, Miz comes to the rescue, and try to receive a huge baby pop from the crowd, to get that loud pop, get that crowd going in his favor to really eat up this match that he'll be having against Cesaro. Maybe it could be handled in a way where Miz is just a little bit tired of Cesaro's shenanigans and demands that he gets another shot at the title at WrestleMania, and maybe Cesaro could kind of say for a couple of weeks, I don't think you're worthy of it, you're not worth my time, I've already beat you twice already. And maybe we could see The Miz try to talk to SmackDown GM Booker T, Vicky Guerrero, try to see about getting another rematch against Cesaro at WrestleMania. And maybe they would put him in some type of matches where he pretty much has to prove himself. And let's not forget, Miz also has WWE Main Event, and technically that's pretty much his show when you think about Main Event, as usually it's him and Michael Cole doing their thing on commentating. Unless otherwise, then we would see the team of Michael Cole, JBL. But for Sunday, once again, I'm going with Antonio Cesaro for the retain. Let's continue on now with our next match, which sees the Divas Championship on the line as Caitlyn defends it against Tamina Snuka. Now, for this particular match, we had a couple of weeks there where we didn't get any Divas action on Raw or SmackDown. We saw a little something on Main Event, but it had nothing to do surrounding the Divas Championship. So, you look at this match, and unfortunately, as much as I would like to feel invested with this match, I look at it more than a filler. And keeping that in mind, we just kind of got to go based off of the little bit that we had saw between Caitlyn and Tamina Snuka. And quite honestly, I'm kind of finding this matchup to be a little bit weird right now. On the one hand, I'm remembering how it appeared as if Tamina Snuka was supposed to be a personal aide to Vicky Guerrero, and she was making things a bit difficult for AJ Lee, and then it just kind of seemed like that just disappeared, and we never really saw a proper end to that. So I'm definitely kind of looking at this match saying, okay, how did we get to this point where we have Tamina taking on Caitlyn, and we really don't have that much of a proper build-up for this. We haven't seen a couple of weeks where Tamina has just squashed the hell out of Caitlyn to really pose a serious threat to her for being able to take away her title. So keeping all that in mind, I see no reason why Caitlyn would not be successful in retaining her title at this respective pay-per-view. I would actually be a little bit shocked if the title were to change hands at this event. So bearing that in mind, I'm going with the safe side right here. I'm playing it safe for now. Caitlyn goes over to Tamina Snuka. It is one of the most important matches of Elimination Chamber. We're going to be seeing the Shield's Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, and Seth Rollins in action as they'll be taking on Ryback, John Cena, and Sheamus in a 6-man tag match. Now, for those of you that had listened to our Tuesday night Wrestling Report edition of the RCWR show, you know I was joined by new co-host Diamond K, and he was offering his perspective on how this match should play out. And I definitely am in agreement with him when I say to you all that this is the type of match where you would expect for the Shield to go over Ryback, Sheamus, Cena, right? Well, unfortunately, the way I'm looking at it right now, as much as I would like to see the Shield go over, I think that the baby faces are going to be the ones that's going to pick up this win right here. Just the fact that John Cena is involved, just to kind of pick up on what I had said on Tuesday night, but I want to just go a little bit more in depth with it. I see the team of Cena winning because Cena needs to start looking strong going into WrestleMania, hands down. And, it's quite unfortunate because by Cena being in this position where he's going to have his team get a win over the Shield, this could be the beginning of the end for the Shield. And to kind of echo what Diamond had said Tuesday, the Shield should be running a lot longer than what we're currently seeing. I mean, these guys came around about almost 4 months ago, and for WWE nowadays, that is considered to be a long time, and we could be seeing this trio get broken up. It would be nice to see these guys continue on into the summer, quite honestly, but I just don't see that happening. This is a case right here where the Shield is going to get their butts handed to them. And again, Cena, he needs to look strong going into WrestleMania 29. Sheamus needs to look a little bit strong. Keep in mind, Sheamus, he had those couple of months there where he was feuding with the Big Show, and he just did not have Big Show's number. You also got to think about the fact that we got Ryback in there. Remember, Ryback had suffered a couple of losses as well, despite not submitting or being pinned. He, too, when it's all said and done, has suffered a loss as well. So I'm expecting these guys to rebound big time in this six-man tag match. So that's who I see winning. With regards to the Shield, though, I wouldn't be too surprised if maybe after Sunday they may have a little bit more of a few words to say with Ryback, Cena, Sheamus. It wouldn't surprise me too much if maybe they would be a little bit bitter and maybe they would try to see if they can get another match out of them. However, I actually wouldn't mind seeing them move on to some other folks to pick on. Maybe perhaps the Dead Man. Just give you a little bit of a preview right there. All right, let's move along now, and let's talk about the next match. But, again, for the record, I'm going with Team Cena to pick up the win. Let's move on with our next match, which is the World Heavyweight Championship. Alberto Del Rio is going to be taking on Big Show. Now, if you're keeping track at home, this is going to be the third pay-per-view. Straight pay-per-view at that, where we are going to be seeing these two men get in on. Now, bear in mind, remember that classic match that we had saw there? What was it, the last man standing match that we saw on SmackDown? These two guys got it on for the World Heavyweight title. Alberto Del Rio, he won the title. Then we see the pay-per-view come up where it was a last man standing match. Alberto Del Rio, try saying that 4 times fast, picked up another win right there. So now you're looking at the third time that these two men are going to be hooking up again. And quite honestly, this is one of those type of matches where I'm just not really invested into it. And the reason why I'm not invested into this particular match is because, number one, there's no type of gimmick behind this match. There's nothing I can really sink my teeth into. This is just a straight-up singles match. So, I mean, this could literally be another case right here where Ricardo Rodriguez could be that X factor. He could be that Chavo to Alberto, you know what I'm saying? I see another case right here where these two guys together, they're going to team up and they're going to pull another page out of the late Eddie Guerrero's book to help Alberto Del Rio retain the title. As much as I would like to see Big Show get that World Heavyweight title back, and I actually thought he was on somewhat of a decent reign, there was actually a huge part of me that was under the impression that Big Show was finally going to be given the decent spotlight going into WrestleMania. He wasn't going to be in one of those type of celebrity matches or whatever little silly crap that they usually have Big Show in every single year at WrestleMania. But it looks like the route that they are going right now is that Big Show is not going to be the World Heavyweight Champion. But one question does come to mind, well, what's going to happen with the Big Show this year? Is he going to possibly take on another celebrity? Now, we heard a few rumblings there several months back as Shaquille O'Neal had let it out the bag that he was supposed to be working out some type of a deal with WWE to be able to wrestle Big Show at WrestleMania. Could maybe something like this happen this year? Honestly, I'm not really sure, but you know WWE, they probably have something cooked up for the Big Show. I will tell you this, though. I definitely do not see Big Show just having a normal match at WrestleMania. I don't see that happening. He will make an appearance. Now, whether or not it will be against a celebrity is a different story, but I can promise you this much. We're not going to get a babyface Big Show anytime soon, at least not going into WrestleMania. I don't see that happening. If I was setting this up, it wouldn't be the way I would be doing this. Now, if it turns out they would be going the celebrity route, then the route I would be taking would be to find a celebrity that would be willing to take a loss at the hands of the Big Show and then maybe have there be a rematch between the two men the next month, and that celebrity could get the win that way. And maybe a couple of months down the road, we could see the two get it on one last time in a winner-take-all, best 2 out of 3. That's how I could see this playing out. If you were to pick my brain and try to see, who would be a likely candidate for the Big Show, Shaquille O'Neal, if they're going to go the celebrity route, Shaquille O'Neal is definitely one that I can think of. Another one that I can think of, he's a pretty tall guy, Dikembe Mutombo. Wouldn't mind maybe seeing him do a little something. Another celebrity I could kind of entertain seeing step into the ring with the Big Show. I don't know why. This is just my personal pick. But I wouldn't mind seeing 50 Cent maybe get in there. I think that would create some very interesting buzz. But if I were to set this up properly, I think Big Show needs to take a page out of CM Punk's playbook. And remember when he was getting into those Twitter feuds with Chris Brown, I think Big Show would need to do something like that. Of course, it's all manifested by WWE. They're the ones behind it all. They basically are stirring the pot as Big Show and whoever this celebrity is just keeps going back and forth for a couple of weeks, and then maybe that could end up in a way where we have this celebrity show up on Raw as a special guest. Big Show gets in their face, and that's pretty much how we kind of have this rivalry really go at it, and everything just goes down at WrestleMania. The beefing all starts on Twitter, but that's the way I would set this up right now. But mark my words, Big Show, he's not going to win at Elimination Chamber, but I could see him win a WrestleMania match finally in a long time if he's put up with the right person. All right, let's move along and let's talk about some more matches that we got coming up at Elimination Chamber this Sunday. Let's go with that Elimination Chamber itself, where it is going to determine the number one contender for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 29. We got a few of my favorites in here. We have Chris Jericho, the Ayatollah of Rock and Roller, versus Daniel Bryan, versus Kane, versus Mark Henry, versus Randy Orton, versus Jack Swagger. So this is pretty much a series of eliminations right here, no pun intended. But this is what I just said. Let's look at some of these names and let's just take them out by order of elimination. All right? First off, Daniel Bryan, Kane, I'm sorry, but they are the tag team champions, right? Right. And here's the other thing that is a little bit weird right now when you look at this particular match. We have Daniel Bryan and Kane in this. Now, if I'm doing this right from a writing booking standpoint, you know that YouTube pre-show that I was talking about earlier? Well, you know, there's no stipulation as of tonight, and it is 25 minutes past the 10 o'clock hour on February 15th, 2013. As of right now, no stipulation has been added to that YouTube tag pre-show match. I think going into Sunday, if it was me, the smart move would be to have that be a number one contender spot to face the tag champions at WrestleMania 29. I think that's how you sweeten the kitty up a little bit. That way it would kind of justify Kane and Daniel Bryan being involved in this Elimination Chamber, because I'm keeping in mind that these two guys are the tag champions. Why aren't they defending the tag titles? You feel me on that? That's why I'm going the route that I'm going. So keep that in mind. But with regards to this particular match as it stands right now, Kane and Daniel Bryan, I don't see either one of these two men being involved for that World Heavyweight title. So let's just eliminate them off the break. They're going to be defending the tag titles, no doubt about it, at WrestleMania. That now leaves us with Randy Orton. Randy Orton, he's been kind of hot. He's been kind of cold. He's been a little bit in between as of recent. Just within maybe the last 3 weeks, he's been kind of made to look a little bit strong there. But I don't think it's his time. I don't see him doing it with Alberto Del Rio. I don't see him getting it on with that guy. The only way I could see Randy Orton and Alberto Del Rio is if Randy Orton were to go heel. And unfortunately, I've yet to see those seeds be planted in that a Randy Orton heel turn is coming. So as much as I would like to see Randy Orton currently with this version that we have of the Viper running around, I don't think it would be a good matchup against Del Rio. All right, so we have him eliminated. That now leaves us with Jack Swagger, Mark Henry, and Chris Jericho. Let's go with Chris Jericho. That is my favorite. That man has made so many appearances at the Elimination Chamber. He has made the most eliminations as well. But keeping all that in mind, Chris Jericho, we know Chris Jericho is only going to be with the company just a little bit on up until WrestleMania. He has been on one hell of a streak since he's been back in the company, first coming back at the Royal Rumble. I would love to see that streak continue on. I would love to see him maybe go on to WrestleMania and be a heel and work with Alberto Del Rio. I think that would be something that would be definitely fresh. I think the two of those guys would have just a phenomenal time working on a storyline, something that the fans could really get behind. I think Jericho could be exactly what is needed to really push Alberto Del Rio. Let's not forget there was that little flag incident that had happened a couple of months back. I believe it was in Spain, and Chris Jericho had ended up being suspended. What was it, for 30 days or something like that? And Jericho was doing this wicked countdown. You know, I wouldn't mind kind of seeing that come back into play. Maybe they could kind of incorporate it into their rivalry here. But Jericho, he's proven time and time again when you give him the ball that when you have Jericho as a heel, he delivers some of his best work. I would love to see a heel Jericho and Alberto Del Rio work together towards a main event match at WrestleMania. But I just don't think from WWE's writing standpoint that's the route they would be willing to go. But that would be the smart route that I would go. I don't see Jericho getting it on with Del Rio. I think what will end up happening with Jericho, contrary to the reports that we've been hearing, I truly believe that Jericho may end up going heel to work with Ryback. I think from WWE's standpoint, I think they might try to be a little slick, and they might try to emulate some of the things that Jericho and Goldberg did in the WCW days, and a little bit when Goldberg was in WWE there. I think they might try to go down that route. So Jericho, as much as I would like to see him at Mania 29 for the title, not going to happen. All right. That now leaves us with Jack Swagger and Mark Henry. All right, let's look at Mark Henry. Mark Henry has come back. He has just looked so damn dominating. He has literally picked up right where he left off before he had got that untimely injury that just had him sidelined for several months. I mean, the guy was gone for at least 9-10 months, and he has just been a beast. this man has not missed a step. But, just to echo what Diamond was saying Tuesday night, it does appear as if Mark Henry is being built up to look very strong, to make you think that possibly he's going to be the one that's going to win the whole damn thing. And, I don't know. I'm looking at it. I'm trying very hard to think about a Mark Henry versus Alberto Del Rio, and I don't really see that really going anywhere. I don't really see something that the fans could really get behind. I mean, only thing I can see from a Mark Henry standpoint is basically Del Rio, I'm going to hurt you. I kind of see Alberto Del Rio playing the same type of jokes and pranks that he was doing with the Big Show. I would see him applying that to Mark Henry, and I don't think that would be fair to the WWE fans. I think their intelligence is more higher than that. They would recognize that they're getting the same shtick, so I don't think that would be the route to go. Mark Henry will become a World Heavyweight Champion again this year, so as long as he can remain healthy and prove that no matter what type of injuries he does sustain, whether it be minor or major, hopefully it's not major to a point where he has to go home for a bit, but if it's minor injuries, hopefully he can prove to the guys in the back that he can work through it and he's deserving of a huge push. So as long as he can remain injury-free, I definitely see him getting another run before he hangs up the boots for good. But for now, Mark Henry, no go. So that now leaves us with Jack Swagger, and quite honestly, we are really beginning to see a major push in Jack Swagger. He was teamed up with Dutch Mantell. Dutch Mantell just being a really great mouthpiece, as evident as it was on this past Monday Night's Raw, really raised a few eyebrows, had a lot of people talking, a lot of people upset with a lot of the things that Mantell was saying and how it just echoed the sentiment that a lot of folks have in this country when it comes to immigrants coming over to this country, especially the ones that sound very ignorant. And that's kind of what he was kind of emulating there. And I think that this is exactly what you need to work with Alberto Del Rio. Remember what we've kind of gotten so far from Del Rio as champion, a few promos that he's been putting out there. He wants to be the champion for the people. He wants to be the champion for his people. He wants to be that type of champion that represents those that are poor, those that are trying to work 2, 3, 4 jobs to provide a roof over their family's head, to be able to provide food on the table. That's that route that he's going, that sympathetic, work hard type of champion, trying to pull a little bit of a playbook from the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes there, and I can totally see that. I can kind of dig that, and I think right now you need a hot and passionate Jack Swagger with Dutch Mantell. Let Dutch Mantell really do all of the talking, and I think that alone is just going to be enough to have the fans really eat up this rivalry and root on Del Rio to beat the living tar out of Dutch Mantell and Jack Swagger. But Jack Swagger, I definitely would have to say, should be the one that should win the whole thing. So do not be too shocked if you see him win it. Now, I just gave you the proper setup for these two guys going into WrestleMania. Now, could Jack Swagger become the new World Heavyweight Champion? Honestly, it really depends on how much of a centerpiece Dutch Mantell is. If it is to a point where the support is just really, really under Jack Swagger, and I mean they just passionately hate the hell out of this man, it's possible we could see the title drop. But I don't know. I'm looking here. I'm looking ahead. I don't think it's going to reach the magnitudes that I'm picturing. I see Del Rio retaining at Mania. But as far as Elimination Chamber goes, I see Jack Swagger picking it up right here. All right, folks, and let's talk about one of the main event matches of the night. You know, we're now down to just one more match. That's right, and I don't mean in a Christian type of way either. We are now down to the singles match for the WWE Championship. And remember, folks, if The Rock is disqualified or counted out, he will lose the championship. Now, this stipulation was added by Vince McMahon this past week on Raw per the request of Paul Heyman. Now, a lot of folks were looking at this and they just thought hands down, okay, this is pretty obvious. CM Punk is going to lose. What the hell? I don't see that happening. As me and Diamond K were saying on Tuesday night, there's just no way that with WrestleMania around the corner, they're going to have The Rock just drop the title like that. The real money is going to be The Rock going into New Jersey as the WWE champion, hands down. What this is going to boil down to is how strong do they want to make The Rock look. I think this is basically setting up The Rock to overcome so many obstacles. I think we could possibly see the Shield come out. Shield could possibly come out, and they could play a factor in this main event match. But keeping that in mind with what's going on with the Shield possibly interfering in this match, it wouldn't surprise me if John Cena, Ryback, and Sheamus were to come out as well. And I think when it's all said and done, you know, Diamond K, he had a pretty interesting idea put out there. He thinks that Brock Lesnar could come out and he could just destroy the hell out of CM Punk, and thus that would set up a Brock Lesnar versus CM Punk. And you guys got to remember here that originally we were kind of hearing the rumblings that it was possibly going to be CM Punk taking on The Undertaker at this year's WrestleMania, but now we're kind of hearing those stories that Undertaker might not be 100% and all this other stuff. I don't know, man. I don't really buy into that. I can't really eat that up right now. I think we're truly going to see a story go down here. I truly believe in my gut we're going to see The Undertaker wrestle at this year's Mania. I truly believe it's going to happen. I know some people probably don't want to see Brock Lesnar get it on with Triple H at Mania because they probably are already saying to themselves, well, Triple H is obviously going to pick up this win, WTF. But honestly, I think the route to go right now, this is a tough one. I think the route that you need to go right now, definitely you need to have The Rock win. As I said, if I was setting this up properly, I would have the Shield members come on out, try to interfere in this match, have John Cena, Ryback, Sheamus come out, even up the odds. There's two ways this could play out. It could go that route, Rock picks up the win. The other route that it could possibly go, it could go the route where we could end up seeing Brock Lesnar make a cameo, and he could just F5 the hell out of CM Punk, and that definitely could set up a CM Punk versus Brock Lesnar match. And to kind of echo my co-host, you could definitely see something along the lines of Paul Heyman aligning himself with Brock Lesnar and basically telling CM Punk, you know, hey, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't have had the title thus far. You would have got the title taken away from you a long time ago. I've allowed you to be champion this long, and you've just proven to me that you're not really a Paul Heyman guy. You can't really get the job done. That's why I had Brock Lesnar. You know, that's pretty much the whole shtick I would go with if Brock Lesnar were to come out. However, I'm going with my gut right here. I don't see Brock Lesnar interfering in this match, and I know a lot of people would kind of want to see that happen, but now you got to answer the $1 million question. Well, Lee, what's going to happen with CM Punk come WrestleMania? How exactly is that going to play out? Well, let's just say for the sake of the argument, there isn't going to be an Undertaker at Mania. You got to give CM Punk something to do, and I was one of the first people to say it a long time ago, and I see a lot more people have just now called on to this, which is have CM Punk be involved with that Rock versus John Cena match. And quite honestly, I think that would be a damn good match to see. I don't think fans would be alienated by that. I think they would welcome a triple threat match at Mania. It's been a while since we've gotten a triple threat match. I can't think off the top of my head when was the last time we saw a triple threat match for the title. But I think it's something that the fans would welcome. And at least this way, it doesn't look too clear-cut that John Cena would pick up the win, even though I think we can all be in agreement he is destined to get that title back, whether some people like it or not. But regardless of that, I'm just going to call it as I see it. I got The Rock retaining. Going forward, I can see a little bit of a dance going on with John Cena, who will be victorious from his match. Him and The Rock, they're going to basically pick up right where they left off last year. I could definitely see CM Punk continuing to try to inject himself into these two guys' rivalry. And maybe for like the first 2-3 weeks maybe, as CM Punk is kind of injecting himself in there, trying to give those reasons as to why he should be part of the match, talk about everything that he's accomplished, longest reigning champion, a streak that can't be beat, all that good talk. Maybe that can kind of give WWE creative booking, upper management enough time to really be able to sit down with The Undertaker and figure out, okay, are you good to go? Can you do a match? Because if The Undertaker can do the match, then I think after about 2-3 weeks, that's when we can start seeing little vignettes of Undertaker returning just in time to be able to announce that he wants to take on Punk at Mania. So these first 3 weeks is very critical because I believe at this point we're about, I think, 7 weeks away from WrestleMania. So these first 3 weeks are very critical. If we don't see Taker pop up, then you can just kind of chalk it up. It's not going to happen. So just be on the lookout for that. That's your Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. Let's take it up from the very top, and let's look at some of these matches one more time for you guys. I have as follows for your YouTube pre-show match. I have Brodus Clay and Tensai picking up the win over Team Rhodes Scholars. Do not be too surprised if the stipulation is added to this tag match, the stipulation being whoever wins will become the number one tag team contenders to face Kane and Daniel Bryan for the belts at WrestleMania 29. I'm putting that out there right now. For your Antonio Cesaro versus The Miz United States title match, I'm going with Cesaro for the win. I think the bigger payoff would be for The Miz to get it at Mania. For the Divas Championship, I see Caitlyn picking up a retain over Tamina Snuka. For your six-man tag match, The Shields, Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins versus Ryback, John Cena, and Sheamus. I got Team Cena picking up the win right here. It's a much-needed win. Cena needs a little bit of momentum going into the first couple of weeks of Raw. For the World Heavyweight Championship between Alberto Del Rio versus Big Show, I am going with Alberto Del Rio. Look for him to do a little bit of lying, cheating, and stealing his way to retain his title. For your Elimination Chamber match, I'm going with, surprising here, I'm going with Jack Swagger to win it all, but I do not have him winning the belt at WrestleMania. And, folks, for your WWE Championship, I have The Rock. Despite the odds here, remember, If he's disqualified or counted out, he'll lose the championship. Despite that, I have him picking up a win. Once again, look for the Shield and Team Cena to possibly make appearances during this match. I know people want to say Brock Lesnar may have a little something to do with this. I just don't see that happening. I'm also going to jump out there and say don't be too surprised if we might get a cameo from Christian. It's been a while since we've seen this man. Last we heard, he's definitely 100%. He's supposed to be coming back very shortly. Don't be too surprised if you see him make a cameo at the event. And for that $1 million question, or that $10 million question, as I like to put it, that X Factor known as Dolph Ziggler, is it possible that he could be cashing in that Money in the Bank briefcase? I do not see that happening at this pay-per-view. I think at this point, history is going to be on his side. I think the big payoff is going to be at this year's WrestleMania. That is where he is going to be cashing in that Money in the Bank briefcase to become the new World Heavyweight Champion. All right, and that's going to do it, folks. Hey, before we go off the air, I just want to take a look back at some of the best moments in Elimination Chamber history. You know, it's getting ready to make its 10-year mark. Only thought it'd be fair to kind of take a look back. And I got to give homage to one of the writers here that had came up with this great article, because I was actually thinking about all of these moments. And this isn't exactly the order I would have them, but I do agree with these moments, so I just want to point it out to you. And it's actually a pretty cool article. It's by Thomas J. Harrigan Jr., who is a writer on the Bleacher Report website. And I'm sure some of you all will remember some of these cool moments. How about Bobby Lashley breaking out of the top pod at the December to Dismember pay-per-view back in 2006? Remember that? That was a pretty cool freaking moment right there. And let's not forget that that pay-per-view, if I'm not mistaken, that was the only ECW pay-per-view that did very poorly. Remember that. How about Elimination Chamber 2011? Remember, it was CM Punk who had got that redo. Remember that, folks? Remember, it was Punk who was slated to enter the chamber at number 4, but his pod door jammed, and that had allowed Randy Orton to just beat the living hell out of him. And Orton had quickly eliminated Punk after delivering an RKO. But remember how the anonymous Raw general manager had got in contact with Michael Cole, and that CM Punk was allowed to go back into the match because of the faulty door, and it would turn out CM Punk would end up being one of the final 2 in the match before initially being eliminated. That was a pretty good match right there. I got another one for you. How about Elimination Chamber at No Way Out 2009? Remember, defending champion John Cena, he was the one that got eliminated. Remember that one? That was a pretty interesting one right there. Next up, I have Rob Van Dam, who did that frog splash to Triple H from the top of the pod at Survivor Series 2002. That was definitely a hell of a OMG moment right there. Number 7, I got Undertaker Chokeslam's MVP from the top of the pod. Remember, that was at No Way Out 2008. That was another OMG moment right there. Hey, we're also still talking about that same event, No Way Out 2008. Remember when Undertaker and Batista had flipped over the top rope into the tombstone? Remember that? So damn good. They kind of emulated that again as a future WrestleMania matchup there. How about at number 5, Goldberg spears Chris Jericho through the plexiglass, SummerSlam 2003. You all should definitely remember that if you were watching WWE back then. Number 4, John Morrison jumps on Sheamus from the chamber roof. That was at Elimination Chamber 2011. Number 3, HBK appears from under the chamber. and he attacked The Undertaker. Remember, that was at 2010. Remember, Shawn Michaels was hungry there. He wanted to get him another match at Undertaker. Of course, one of my favorite, this one for me is number one. I will always remember this one. Edge competes in 2 chamber matches and one night. Remember that? No Way Out, 2009. Remember, Edge had entered No Way Out as the WWE Champion, but to only have walked out as the World Heavyweight Champion. It was probably one of the most rarest times that you saw a freaking switcheroo. I mean, talk about ridiculous right there. All right, and another favorite moment of mine, Shawn Michaels winning the inaugural Elimination Chamber at Survivor Series 2002. I'm sure you guys remember that one. That was the one where Shawn Michaels had won the World Heavyweight title from Triple H, just when he was fresh off of returning from, what was that, a 5-year hiatus? Nobody was more happy, and nobody had a true mark-out moment than myself when I saw Shawn Michaels win that title. I must admit, though, the choice of attire that he wore, I believe it was brown spandex there, I thought that bad boy needed to be changed big time. It was nice that it didn't last that long. But those are your Elimination Chamber moments. Now, some of those you can actually check out. There's some matches available on YouTube, and we'll try to make it a little easier for you guys to find them all, as during the course of this weekend, leading up into the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, I'll be kicking on back, and I'll actually upload some of the matches, make it all easy for you guys to find. It'll be at our Facebook page at Infinity One Productions. So make sure you check that out. Give it a like while you're at it. We do so much more than just cover wrestling. We cover a little bit of everything. Give you news that you can use. All right, so quick programming note. I want to let you guys know that we are very, very humbled and honored that we are going to be joined by a very special guest that's going to be coming on to the RCWR show this Saturday, February 16th at 2 p.m. Eastern. He is one of the most regarded and respected wrestlers of all time. He was one of the longest reigning WWWF champions in the company's history. It's a record that will not be broken. I don't care how far along we go in the years. It's a record that will never be broken. The true people's champion, folks. The true Italian Stallion. It is none other than Mr. Bruno Sammartino. He's going to be joining me for an exclusive one-on-one interview. You don't want to miss this. I know some of you probably took a listen at a few of the appearances that he's made on other radio shows. I can promise you off the break, a lot of the questions that I will be asking him are not questions that has been asked on other shows. This will be a unique interview in itself. Make sure that you check that out. I was talking with Mr. Sammartino earlier today, making sure that everything was good to go for tomorrow, and he, just as I am, is looking very, very forward to having this interview. Definitely can't wait. Truly honored, truly humbled at this great opportunity. So make sure that you check that out. You don't want to miss it. It will be featured during the weekend, so you all will be able to find it. It all leads into a special episode of the RCWR Post Show at 11 p.m. Eastern this Sunday, covering the fallout from Elimination Chamber. Join me with new co-host Diamond K. We'll go over the fallout from the event, and our chat room and phone lines will be open, boys and girls, as we want to receive live reactions from you. Hey, what's your match predictions, by the way, for Sunday's Elimination Chamber pay-per-view? We'd love to hear from you. Take the time out to hit us up on Twitter at Infinity1Prod, Facebook at Infinity One Productions. Let us know your pick, and if you're spot on, we'll show you some love and give you a plug live on the air for our post show this Sunday. All right, one quick programming note, and this is a special shout-out to our Blog Talk Radio listeners. We know that some of you all may not like the new layout of the Blog Talk Radio website. We just want to make sure that we make it as easy for you guys to find our shows as possible. As it was pointed out to me by a few people, they were having a little bit of difficulty finding some of our shows. Well, this is what you can do. When you're at blogtalkradio.com, all you got to do is just look at their little search engine that's in the upper right-hand corner and just type in the RCWR show, or you can type Impact Showdown Radio, and you'll be able to find us that way. And as soon as it loads up, you'll see a little bio page of us, and in bold letters, you'll see Infinity One Wrestling. If you click on that, it will always show you our most recent episode and work its way back down and show you upcoming episodes that we have. So just thought I'd put that out there for you all that's having a little bit of difficulty navigating on the site. Of course, if you're listening to this on your iPod or other respectable portable devices, you can get the hookup by the links that we provide in the episode descriptions. That way you'll be able to subscribe very easily without going through all that hassle. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed to us yet, be sure that you do. You can do so by looking us up in the iTunes, Zune marketplaces. Use the keywords, the RCWR show. Episodes available, once again, in the iTunes, Zune, and Stitcher marketplaces. Use the keywords, the RCWR show. Talk of wrestling may end here for now, boys and girls, but it continues over at our website at InfinityOneProductions.com, where we cover so much more than wrestling. Check that out when you get a free moment. That's going to do it until this Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern for a special one-on-one interview with Mr. Bruno Sammartino, and Sundays Elimination Chamber post-show at 11 p.m. Eastern. I am the Black Avenger, Lee Sanders. You all be safe and you all be kind to one another, folks. If you are still kicking back, enjoying Valentine's Day weekend, be a dear, rewind, go check out Slow Jamming with Lee. It's been remixed for your listening pleasure. I play some of the best R&B music from the 80s, 90s, and today. Check that out. You'll thank me later. All right, everybody. Take care. See y'all later.